But for most people, growing up through your teenage years and discovering who you are can take you on some mysterious roads, and discovering who you are can be truly hard or even scary for some people. But adding a layer on top of that, being transgender, can make this whole process 1,000 times harder, especially when you're living in a country like the UK, where our politicians, the people that people listen to, are speaking so negatively about this community of people, and figuring out that you might possibly be part of this community, and all you're seeing on the news is the politicians speaking so negatively about it. It can be truly damaging for people discovering who they are. And luckily for me, discovering that I was transgender wasn't something that I found hard. I have a very supportive family who didn't care that I was trans. I understand that I'm very, very privileged in this side of things, due to the fact that I know a lot of people that have not very supportive family members, and they feel like they can't come out, or they felt like they couldn't come out due to their parents' views on transgender people. But when all you see on the news is our politicians speaking so negatively about trans people, no wonder people hate us so much. And I think it's just making discovering who you are as a person and being transgender in the UK so hard at the moment. Because it's not even like they're just talking about how much they hate us and how we are mentally ill or whatever they're saying. It's the non-stop battle with them trying to take away the simple right of healthcare, and understanding that you're born in the wrong body at quite a young age, like I did, where I was 12 when I found out what transgender was, but always knew deep down that there was something going on. Puberty genuinely terrified me. And I think, although I started hormone blockers quite late in my life, when I was 16, I think that I couldn't have lasted 2 more years waiting for hormone blockers, because at that point, it's too late. You've already gone through puberty, and you've already experienced these traumas that you shouldn't have to have experienced because of the failure of the NHS and the UK gender healthcare. But I couldn't have done this transition without my family. Hello, how's it going?
Good. I've got an essay due tomorrow and I barely started it today.
Oh,
I
nice.
literally didn't sleep at all last night.
Yeah. How did you see me when we were younger, like before I came out? Like,
Yeah. It was just so like normal. Like we literally just didn't think anything of it. Like it wasn't like a shock when you came out or anything, because it was literally, as long as I can remember, you always just wanted to wear boys' clothes.
yeah.
It's great because that mum and dad were so like accepting, because like we've now had the privilege, like me and Catherine, of like growing up in an environment where like it was so just like open and okay. So like now it's not like this big culture shock when like more and more people are coming out as like trans in the future. Do you know what I mean? Like straight away. And like you were young as well. Like they could have like so had the right, like if they wanted to, of being like, oh Joe, are you sure? Like they could have, because you were so young, but like they just went with it. I wonder whether that is like, I'd like to see research done on that. Like I wonder if that is more abnormal. Like I feel like you don't hear that many people that come out as trans as like early as you did, with like no sway from their parents. Like mum and dad just let you be who you wanted to be.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, there was no particular point in time where it became obvious. It was just a gradual thing. Joe just was always uncomfortable in the role as a girl, whatever that was, whether it was playing an angel in the nativity play or having to wear girls' clothes for a wedding or at school. And the minute Joe started, and it was from quite a young age, sort of transitioning, I guess, slowly and wearing boys' clothes, Joe was just much more comfortable. He just looked and acted really normally, whereas in the girl role, he just looked uncomfortable. And it was just a general progression through time. It just wasn't a shock for me. I just felt like it was just the most natural thing for Joe to transition across to being, as he is now, a young man.
Yeah, do you want to talk maybe about like my more recent life, like, because obviously in January it's 2 years since I've been on testosterone.
Yeah. So Joe today is an amazing young man. The testosterone he's been receiving now for nearly 2 years has made a big difference in so many ways. Obviously physically, but more importantly is his comfort and confidence as a young man, and his happiness. I can see that every day. Because this is what Joe wants, Joe needs, and it's been great to see that transition over the last 2 years, especially because leading up to that was a difficult period with the court case of the Tavistock.
So in November 2020, Kira Bell took the Tavistock to court, where the ruling basically was that nobody under the age of 16 could gain access to either HRT or hormone blockers, because Kira Bell herself thought that she was transgender when she really wasn't. She proceeded to transition to male, started hormone blockers, then moved on to taking testosterone, but realised she actually wasn't transgender. And instead of detransitioning like most people do and realising she'd made a mistake, she decided to take the Tavistock to court. The judge swayed with her. It stopped all new treatment at the Tavistock, and anybody under the age of 16 couldn't start hormone blockers or HRT. A lot of her points were how they pushed the Tavistock and University College London almost pushed onto testosterone and didn't show her enough psychiatric evaluation. But from my point of view, I really struggled with my psychiatric evaluation at the Tavistock, because you kind of get let into this room where you meet these two psychiatrists, and you have to spill your life story to them, and you have to talk about your body to these people you don't know. I was really struggling with it. It was a very emotional time for me. 6 months into my journey with the Tavistock, they actually halted my psychiatric evaluation and gave me 6 months off so I could really evaluate and think about, why I need to do this and why it's so important to do this. And according to Kira Bell, that wouldn't have been the case in her eyes of the Tavistock, because the psychiatric evaluation is done so quick, and then they pump you with hormone blockers, and then as soon as you've done your year of hormone blockers, they straight away sign you up to testosterone, and they force you to sign the consent papers, when in actual fact you're the one that sat down. You're the one that sat down and told you the changes. You're the one that sat down and told you the side effects that could possibly happen, and you're the one that puts pen to paper, and you're the one that signs your name and gives consent that you want this treatment.
Joe's treatment pathway was put on hold, and that was a very difficult time for Joe, being that age, and not knowing when his treatment was going to be picked up. But it's hugely positive now, and Joe's got his whole life ahead of him. But for me, there was no loss there. I mean, often people talk about the loss of a daughter whilst gaining a son, but I never really felt Joe was a daughter in many ways, because from such an early age, his sort of awkwardness in the role of a girl was really apparent, and his gravitation towards being a boy, both in terms of dressing and activities, was just such a natural part of Joe, that as he transitioned more and more, I didn't feel like there was any loss at all. I just felt it's been a gain all the way.